the WWE looking to follow up on what was a really fun Saturday night's main event with Monday Night Raw from Boston, Massachusetts. And we begin the show with CM Punk and Seth Rollins in a bit of a promo battle. Punk starting things off with a few good notes. Rollins coming in through the crowd. I thought Punk then saying, "You're finally in the spot where you're supposed to be," among the other CM Punk fans. I thought that was a really good chirp. I thought that was a really good one. The one thing that kind of takes away from this is the crowd isn't sure who to get behind. Because you got Punk coming out and it's the music and he's still CM Punk and he's got all these amazing lines and all this stuff and it's a very easily chantable name and you get really excited when CM Punk comes out. But then it seemed like the crowd kind of turned when CM Punk starts to mention, "Oh, and you got that stupid song." And the crowd starts singing the song and they're like, "Oh wait, we like this song. And we like singing this song, but we also like you." And so we are conflicted now. And it seems like that's where they kind of lost them, where everyone in the crowd kind of realized at one point, like, hey, we like both these guys, and we like singing that song. So this is a little bit awkward for us. I think overall, the match is going to be incredible. And the feud in here is good for the next one up here for CM Punk. It looked like they were trying to maybe tease a bit of a heel thing with Drew McIntyre, but then Rollins telling him basically to kick rocks, and they have a pull apart a little bit later on. So they have really intertwined a lot of pieces here, coming off of this kind of bloodline adjacent storyline. Intercontinental title match, Bronn Breakker taking on Ludwig Kaiser. The crowd loved Bronn Breakker. Like, this guy, he feels like a main eventer. And, excuse me, we have had a lot of the build for this year be around, like, building up Gunther. And I would say building up LA Knight a little bit as well. I think next year's project to get into the world title picture is going to be Bronn Breakker. But again, I've said this a number of times. The mid-card on Monday Night Raw right now is just fantastic. And I think you got another example of it here. This was a fun match. You got a fun spot with Bronn clotheslining Kaiser over the table. That sends us to break. When we come back, Kaiser is looking for that drop kick into the stairs, into the leg or whatever of Bronn Breakker. And the camera is solely focused on Kaiser as he's ripping around. And then the camera goes behind him and you see Bronn's not there. And there's a bit of a where'd he go, what happened? And then Bronn comes back around behind him with a big shoulder tackle. I thought that was a really, really fun spot as well. At the end, Bronn Breakker does get the victory. And both these guys once again deliver a performance that we have seen from both of them before that has been quite fun to see. Up next, we had a recap of the Cody angle that happened after they went off the air with the Kevin Owens thing. And so, first of all, in the Saturday Night's Main Event recap that I posted, I didn't cover that because I honestly, I didn't see it. I was avoiding all spoilers from Saturday Night's Main Event, so any kind of post-fight whatever, I missed it. And then I was watching a replay, and as soon as it was done, I was basically on streaming. So I was like, oh shit, Kate, gotta go. So entirely missed it. So that's my bad. But it felt a little bit weird because they show the attack from Kevin Owens on Cody. And then after it is done, and you have Cody being motionless, being laid onto a stretcher and carried out. And then it comes back around and presented by Chime, which is something. Joe Tessitore, well, 45 million views of this on social media. And they tried to kind of twist it, because I think they realized too how fucking insane that is. Like, oh hey, our poster child here just might have been paralyzed. We're not sure. Probably not. But he had to be carried out on a stretcher on Saturday night. But holy shit, a lot of people watched it. They kind of realized that all at the same time, and most of this people pouring in their reactions and sending their sympathies and their best wishes for Cody Rhodes, and they tried to cover it that way, but it just felt fucking odd to have that there. Like, oh my god, this is just a devastating attack. Like, it was like the whole thing. I'm gonna say the whole thing kind of felt very 1980s again, and that kind of goes along to what we were talking about with the overall feel of the Cody Kevin Owens match, where it was a little bit like the old Saturday Night's Main Events, where you get a ref bump and another ref bump, and then you have the babyface champion kind of being a little heelish in picking up a win, and so it felt very 1980s. And then you see the post-fight breakdown, and it did kind of feel like a little old school as well, like Earthquake attacking Hulk Hogan after, and the crowd is in shocked silence as they go off the air, and what will happen to our fearless hero. But it would have been if you did that and then you go like Mean Gene Okerlund is like, and we'll have the update for you on the 1-900 line. Call 1-900 blah 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 to hear if Hulk Hogan will ever walk again. Like it felt weird that they were touting their social media numbers and then brought it back to an on-cam with Wade Barrett and Joe Tessitore and oh well he has a bruised spinal thingy-bob. Like it was just, I understand what they were doing. It was a good recap and all of that, but holy hell did the social media thing in there feel strange to me. Anyway, we get a couple of announcements for January 6th on Monday Night Raw on Netflix. It'll be Roman Reigns against Solo Sikoa, and then CM Punk taking on Seth Rollins. Liv and Rhea, a pretty good promo segment. I don't think we got anything new or anything like that, but it does keep the intensity up, and it really does drive home. Don't focus anywhere else on anybody else. Rhea Ripley is your number one contender for the Women's World Championship, and it really puts the focus on this for, I think, one more run with these two. I would assume then Rhea gets a win and is the champion one more time going into WrestleMania season. Not much for Io Sky involvement on this show, and that kind of bummed me out a little bit, as you guys, I'm sure, are aware. We get Zoey Stark then against Raquel Rodriguez, already in the ring, and Kaden Carter in the Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament qualifying match. This match was a little all over the place. Zoey Stark gets the win. Crowd wasn't super into it, but this is one where Joe Tessitore, I thought, really shined, because he added a lot of excitement with his commentary. And I think that is a real skill to have as a play-by-play guy. When a match isn't the number one 5-star match, for him to be able to add that layer of excitement and add a layer of importance too is a fantastic skill, and Joe Tessitore has that in spades. But yeah, Zoey Stark getting a look, I think, is really interesting. And again, exactly what this tournament is supposed to be. She attacks Kairi Sane in the back after, with Kairi getting an arm injury or something along those lines, smashed into a crate of some sort. It seemed bad. So we will see what happens there. Main event, it was the War Raiders taking on the Judgment Day for the World Tag Team Championships. This was a solid match. The Priest involvement makes complete sense. Costs Finn Balor and JD McDonough. I thought it sets the table for that really well. It does really seem like Judgment Day is about to just explode here pretty soon. Finn Balor not looking like the best of leaders here with this particular group, and so that has not been the most effective use, I would say, of one Finn Balor. But I do think that like he is good in this role and is filling it perfectly. It feels like they're making him seem kind of dumb a lot of the time, and that's not awesome. But still, I think him against Priest in some kind of a blow-off match is going to be very big. And I love the War Raiders winning the tag team titles. They're a fantastic team. It's really well deserved. And I think now they're going to be able to let the focus be on the tag team titles, where the tag belts kind of felt like just something in the background with the Judgment Day thing. So I think it's good to get the belts away from Finn and JD and onto what I would say to be a bit more of a legitimate tag team. Overall, this was a fun show. A couple of the matches were really good. Nothing was overly offensively bad from this one. New Day not being allowed into the dressing room, which was kind of a show-long story arc. It was fine. It keeps it on people's mind while not really progressing anything, which is basically what they did last week. And so again, I suggest the difference. Sometimes there is a difference between long-term storytelling and just telling a story that's long. And it seems, so far, this is just a story that is long. But I do think it will pick up here very, very soon. And I guess it did set up the Rey Mysterio thing, but they weren't on the show. So why did they need to get, what? They were still looking for their dressing room with 8 minutes left in the show. Like, what were they doing? Why did they need to be there? Why did they need a dressing room? I think they could have gone like one step further with it and had the New Day, they were supposed to be in this thing, but they couldn't find anywhere to get dressed, so we had to put these guys in instead or something like that. Now, maybe that adds a little bit too much comedy to what we want to be a serious thing, but I think you kind of needed something to pay that off a little bit more than just, they wanted a dressing room and couldn't find it. But it's fine because they're not wrestling tonight. That was the only thing that I thought was really weird. But aside from that, I thought a really good show that is building things up now toward January 6th and Monday Night Raw on Netflix.